All names, characters, and events in this story are entirely fictional and created for entertainment purposes only. She had 200,000 followers. Brands sponsoring her content. A channel growing week after week. And I was the one who brought it all down. Not because I was a bad husband, but precisely because I was a good one. What you're about to hear is not a story of revenge. It's a story about truth. She chose to live her life in front of an audience. She built a career on their trust. And I just made sure that trust wasn't wasted on a lie. Everything I did calmly. No screaming. No drama. No scenes. Using the exact same tool she used to build her entire career. Social media. Stay until the end. Because what you'll find out will change the way you look at every influencer who claims to live with authenticity. My name is Ryan. I'll use that name. I was married to Valerie for 4 years. 4 real years. Not Instagram years. We met through a mutual friend at a birthday party. She had this energy, the kind you notice before someone even opens their mouth. We dated for 2 years before getting married. Small wedding. Close friends. Nothing extravagant. That was always us. Private. Grounded. Or so I believed. Valerie had started her channel 3 years before we got married. Lifestyle. Travel. Product recommendations. Nothing extraordinary. But she had something in front of a camera that people just followed. A presence. A warmth that translated perfectly to a screen. I supported her completely. We'd travel and I'd take her photos. We'd go to dinner and I'd wait while she filmed the food. We'd go on vacation and I'd carry the equipment. It didn't bother me. It was part of our life. I was proud of her, honestly. Watching her build something from nothing, that was impressive. In the last year, her account grew fast. She went from 50,000 followers to 180,000 in 8 months. Brands started reaching out. Clothing labels. Skincare companies. Travel agencies. And with the brands came something else. A new circle of people. Photographers. Editors. Other creators. A world I wasn't really a part of. I wasn't worried at first. Valerie had always been open with me. Or at least that's what I told myself. Looking back, the signs were there. Small things. Easy to dismiss. She started keeping her phone face down on the table. She'd step out to take calls. She started silencing her notifications whenever I was nearby. It happened so gradually I almost didn't notice. Almost. There's one detail I want you to hold on to. Something small that I didn't think much of at the time. We'll come back to it. And when we do, everything will click. It all started on a Wednesday night. Valerie had gone out for what she called a brand photo shoot. She came home late. Later than usual. I didn't ask. I trusted her. 2 days later, I found something by accident. I wasn't looking for anything. I want to be clear about that. Her tablet was on the kitchen counter. The screen was on. There was a conversation open. I saw the name, Martin. And I saw enough to know Martin wasn't a work colleague. The messages were specific. Dates. Places. Words you don't use with a friend. I read everything. My hands didn't shake. That was the strangest part. I closed the tablet. Put it back exactly where it was. Went to the bedroom. Sat on the edge of the bed. and didn't move for 40 minutes. What I felt wasn't rage. It wasn't sadness either. It was something colder than both. Clarity. Absolute clarity. Valerie's career was built entirely on her audience's trust. Brands sponsoring her because she was authentic. Followers who stayed because she seemed real. Companies paying her because she represented family values. She had built a character, and that character was a lie. Not to me. Not just to me. To all of them. To every single person who had ever left a comment, bought a product she recommended, or saved one of her posts as relationship inspiration. And then something shifted in my head. A thought that started small and then became very loud. What if the audience knew? I didn't act that night. Or the next day. I sat with that thought for 3 full weeks. 3 weeks of acting normal. 3 weeks of smiling in her photos. 3 weeks of carrying the equipment. 3 weeks of collecting information. I need you to understand something important. I didn't act on impulse. I didn't act out of anger. I acted on conviction. There's a meaningful difference. Over those 3 weeks, I documented everything I could. Not illegally. I didn't hack anything. I didn't need to. I just paid very close attention. To the patterns. To the schedules. To the Instagram stories she posted when she said she was somewhere. And the geolocation quietly said otherwise. The brands that worked with her did so under a formal image contract. A contract that included, word for word, a clause about consistent and authentic representation of personal values. I read that contract more than once. Then I built something very specific. A folder. Clean. Organized. Screenshots. Dates. Public contradictions. What she posted versus what was actually happening. Nothing private. Nothing stolen. Nothing illegal. Only what she herself had chosen to put online, placed next to the verifiable reality of where she actually was. Now, remember that detail I told you to hold on to? Here's where it lands. 2 weeks before I found those messages, Valerie had posted an Instagram story. Weekend at home with family. Nothing better. The geolocation placed her 400 kilometers from our house. I was away on a work trip. She wasn't home. And yet she posted that. For her 180,000 followers. That wasn't a mistake. That was the character doing its job. A paid performance. For brands. For followers. For the algorithm. So I made 2 decisions. Both calculated. Both legal. Both deliberate. First, I wrote an email to each of the 3 main brands sponsoring her. No insults. No accusations. No emotion. Just questions. Questions with screenshots attached. Were you aware that in the post from March 14th, sponsored by your company, the account's geolocation did not match the declared location? I've attached the verifiable coordinates for your review. Simple. Documented. Irrefutable. Second, I opened an anonymous Reddit account. And I told the story. No names. No identifying details. Just the story. With enough context for anyone who knew her to recognize it. I posted it on a Tuesday night at 7 p.m. and went to bed. At 11 p.m., I woke up to my phone buzzing nonstop. Valerie was standing at the foot of the bed. Face white. Eyes wide. What did you do? I didn't ask what she meant. I already knew. What happened over the next 48 hours moved very fast. All 3 brands canceled their contracts. One of them released a brief public statement about authentic representation values. Followers started going through her old posts. They found more contradictions. Some I hadn't even noticed myself. Valerie tried to post an explanation video. It stayed up for 4 hours before she took it down. The comments were too much to manage. In 1 week, she lost 60,000 followers. The brands didn't come back. A month later, the account stopped updating entirely. We got divorced. No public statements about it. No posts. No drama. In silence, the way the whole thing should have been from the start. Someone asked me once if I felt guilty. I had to think about that for a long time. Guilty for what, exactly? For making sure that the people who trusted her knew the truth? For treating her audience with the same respect she should have? I don't think I do. What I do feel is the weight of all the time I spent not seeing what was in front of me. The meals, the trips, the photos I took of her. All of it real for me. A performance for her. She built an audience by selling them a version of her life that didn't exist. Those people trusted her. Those companies invested in her. I just returned the information to the people it actually belonged to. The next time you see an influencer talking about their real life, their perfect relationship, their values, ask yourself one honest question. What happens when the camera turns off? Because someone always knows. And sometimes, that someone decides to talk.